Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Herp Monday number 45 and we have an interesting one for you today. Today's Herp is an animal that very few people have ever heard of this. It is sought after in the pet trade, but hopefully people don't actually buy it. Today we are going to be talking about the dragon snake. So, dragon snake, or some other common names, the Javan mud snake, or I believe the most proper common name is the ruffed back litter snake. But we're going to call it dragon snake because it looks cool. So, dragon snake, or scientific name, Xenodermis javanicus. Again, that's Xenodermis javanicus. It is part of the family Xenodermidae, and it is the only genus in that family. Only species in its genus. It's an extremely rare and very unique organism. In the wild, you can guess that this snake is found around like the islands of Java and Borneo, Javanicus, scientific name. But it's also found in the Southeast Asian peninsula, Malaysia, Thailand, and that very small area. From the research that I've done, it does not seem like it's not that uncommon, but these things are really difficult to find, so there's not a whole lot known about the population estimates of this snake. It inhabits the dark areas or damp areas, near water, forests, swamps, marshes, rice fields. It's actually supposed to be really common in rice fields, but they're found at elevations below. They can be found at all elevations below 1,300 meters, which is about 4,300 feet, but they're really common at about that 500 to 1,000 meter range, or 1,600 to 3,000 feet above sea level. So they don't really get up in the mountains. They like to be down near at the sea level, be very humid, very moist areas. These things really need to be in a high humidity climate for them to thrive. If you can't tell from these pictures, these are not babies. These are full-grown individuals. They're extremely small, but more than that, they're thin, real small, thin snake. They average about 50 centimeters, about 20 inches. I have seen some stuff saying that they're about 24 inches to 30 inches, so they can get significantly longer than that. 34 would be 34 inches. 30 inches would be roughly 75 centimeters, but I mean, I don't think that's incredibly common. But even then, the entire thing does not weigh all that much. I could not find any research on what these animals weigh, but I can't imagine they weigh very much considering how slender they are. They are a non-venomous snake, and they're very unaggressive. These are not an overly aggressive snake. They prefer to be left alone. They don't seem to bite people. These things are just basically big scaredy cats. They do not like to be handled either. They really don't like to be handled. So if you do find these somehow, please don't handle them. They have this really unique head. If you haven't noticed from the pictures, it's a really square rectangled head, very blunt nose, and I believe that's to help them with one of their habits, which they are a fossorial species. They're also terrestrial, but they're also fossorial, meaning that they do dig throughout the ground. I believe that nose would really help with that. If you see these really rough scales on the end of the nose, that seems like it'd help with that. But it's not a very wide head. It's this real slender rectangular head with some upturned eyes. They got this plain gray back, a very white belly. They can range from this kind of grayish brown to just gray, steel gray, just kind of a mixture. But I know we're going to talk about it. I promise you what this snake is, why it's unique, and why people love it. is these scales on the back. These scales on the back are just incredibly unique. If you look here, it just has these 3 rows of scales with these alternate 2, 1, 2, 1 at the very central row. It looks very similar to what your ideas of a mythical dragon would look like. So it has these really keeled scales, and these keeled scales are different in, I don't know if we ever discussed this, but a keeled scale looks and feels rough because it has a prominent ridge, whereas most of your other scales are smooth. So these really rough, rigid scales on the back is what gives it that really unique appearance. And those rows, as we discussed, they look like a dragon back. And it seems that, that's what everyone thinks of, because the man who discovered the snake, Johann Reinhardt, who discovered the snake in 1836, he noticed this similarity, and he's the one who actually gave the snake its name, this dragon snake. So even he noticed that it looks like the mythical dragon's back. So there you go. As we discussed, this is a nocturnal species. They seem to be strictly nocturnal, not coming out during the day at all. They subsist, meaning they eat mainly frogs, tadpoles, small fish. They do not have a high fecundity. They have an extremely low fecundity. They can, I believe from all the stuff I've found, it seems like the females lay about 4 eggs per year. That's not a lot of eggs being laid. Now, you can find this in the pet trade. However, please don't. You can buy these for about $400, but should you? No, absolutely not. You're probably gonna lose your money. As we said, that's $400 that you're more than, unless you're just the most incredible snake keeper. Everything I found says that do not keep these. They're extremely difficult. They're very delicate. They don't adapt well to captivity. They get sick really easy. They just don't seem to eat very properly. Even if people seem to get these snakes and they seem to be very comfortable and, comfortable with things that are going, it doesn't even work then. These snakes are extremely unadaptable. They really want to be in their habitat. But if not, they're going to get sick. The way you keep their habitat has a high chance of actually developing fungal infections as well. Think about it, how humid of an area these things have to live in. You're going to have like a moss bottom to your terrarium to do this. But now for the interesting fact that we're going to end the video on, and I'm sorry, this is a short video. There's just not a lot of information about this snake, so I hope you'll forgive me in this shorter video. But the interesting thing that we're going to end the video on is these snakes have a really odd defense mechanism. You'd think most snakes, strike up, bite, run away really fast, things like that. This snake has a much odder defense mechanism, and the best way I can show you is actually in a video that I have found. This video, I would highly advise not doing it, but it is possible. If you watch this video, you will see this snake. It is, motionless, seems scared, but if you pick it up, these things go incredibly rigid. So I know it's kind of hard to see, but you can see that it's just completely rigid, and sometimes it'll stay like that for a really, really long time. So please don't do this, by the way, unless you know what you're doing and you're very, very gentle. But just please be gentle. He releases the snake healthy and happy at the end. But that stiffening of the body, almost like a board, is what really causes this snake to be, not really causes, it's one of the factors on why this snake is so difficult to keep in a terrarium, because if they get startled, they'll just go rigid, and sometimes they can hold that rigidity for a very long time, and that puts their body on a lot of extra strain. So, and to the point where sometimes they just won't eat. They'll just stay rigid the entire time. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you do. I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Go check out the other series, Fish Friday. Hope you've been enjoying it. I know I have. Once again, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and peace.